I'm the lost second daughter of the aristocratic family. Yes, I am the real daughter. That sister who grew up in the aristocratic family is also a real daughter. Yes, we are twins. Sitting at the dinner table, I silently listened to my biological father, Mr. Smith's apology, as well as the apologetic looks from my older brothers and sisters. My inner thought, it's not that big of a deal, really. I really am their child. Back then, when Mrs. Smith, my biological mother, was in critical condition. He was busy taking care of his wife and neglected the children, so the youngest one of us got lost. It said that when the older brother had just put the sister down from the car, I was gone in an instant. This incident has been a family trauma. I had looked into all these things before deciding to return to the Smith family, but I really don't care much about it. So when I was almost done with a dish of steamed pork with rice flour, and my father was still apologizing, I couldn't help but say, "Mr. Smith, Dad, I'm doing just fine, you must have checked, so it's really not that big of a deal." Then I turned to my twin sister and put a piece of pork on her plate. Eat up. To be honest, although we look 90% alike, Sarah's style is completely different from mine. It's not that I don't like her, on the contrary, if I were a boy, I would have asked her out. Sarah paused for a few seconds, her eyes were a bit red, and after a long time, she finally said, "Thank you." I said, "You're welcome. Eat more, you're too thin." After reading so many novels about fake and real daughters of the aristocratic family, I thought I would have to use 36 strategies to outwit people when I returned to the Smith family, but it seems I overthought. At least for now, this family is all pretty good. After dinner, Sarah took me to the second floor and said, "This is your room, my room is next to yours. I don't know what you like." So I asked Kathy Aunt, and she gave me a lot of suggestions. "Take a look and see if you like them, if not, we can change them." The Kathy Aunt she mentioned is my adoptive mother, and she was the woman I loved the most before Sarah appeared. Oh, now they are tied for first place. I looked around and indeed, everything was in line with my taste, so I said, "It's very beautiful, I like it. Thank you, sister." Although it felt a bit awkward, I still managed to say that title. Miss Sarah was moved again, and I felt a bit embarrassed. After a lot of talking, I finally managed to get her to rest. Just as I lay down on my soft and comfortable bed, the doorbell rang again. I got up and opened the door, finding it was my blood-related brother, Mandy, who hadn't said a word at the dinner table. I invited him into the room, as expected. He also came to apologize. "I'm really sorry for these years," I sighed, feeling a bit of a headache. "I already said that I'm doing well. My parents, my adoptive parents have never lacked for either money or care, and even..." I glanced towards Sarah's room. "Even Sarah has, I almost have everything she has, and sometimes even more, so you really don't need to feel guilty." I was right, my adoptive parents' family isn't short of money, and I was their long-awaited daughter, though they found me while taking a walk. Ha ha ha, so they were especially kind to me. My brother even said it's a miracle I haven't been spoiled, but Mandy clearly didn't think that way. "You're doing well. It's because your adoptive parents love you, but that's not an excuse for us to forgive our mistakes. I know you're still having a hard time accepting it, but that's okay. No matter if you're Lily or Lily Smith, you're my sister." I was a bit surprised, but looking into his eyes, I couldn't find the words to refuse, so I just said, "Thank you." I paused, and decided to be honest with him. In fact, after my adoptive parents found me, they went to the police station to report it. I don't know why, but at that time, you couldn't find me. Later, when I grew up, I met Sarah. I looked into my own origins, and before you came to find me, I hadn't planned on returning to the Smith family, but now, I found out, you're all really good people. I stepped forward and gave him a hug. Mandy was stunned for a moment and said, "Thank you." Not long after, it was Mandy's birthday. My biological father Smith decided to hold a party and introduce me to everyone. I was still recovering from my illness when I suddenly sat up straight. Can I refuse? Although I'm not socially anxious, I still felt a bit reluctant to chat with a bunch of people I didn't know. As expected, my suggestion was rejected by 3 votes. Soon it was the day of the party. I was wandering around the banquet hall in a little evening dress carefully selected by Sarah. It was a bit similar to hers, as she put it. It was obvious at a glance that we were sisters. I really liked this little dress, and I thanked her, but then I was scolded for 10 minutes by the whole family for being too polite. At the banquet, with glasses clinking, I saw Mandy chatting effortlessly and confidently from afar. He was truly the heir to Mr. Smith. Under the banquet lights, he was quite a good-looking guy. No wonder it's our family's genes. Just as I was having my final struggle with the little cake, a sly person blocked me, seeing me looking at him. He immediately acted like an old friend. "Sarah, I heard your missing sister who disappeared 20 years ago has come back. She was raised in the countryside, right? Did your family let her out? And don't you feel ashamed?" He could even mistake me for Sarah, clearly not familiar with my sister. Looking at myself, probably because the dress I'm wearing was picked by her. It has a bit of Sarah's style, so we got mixed up. I smiled at him, a professional fake smile. Who doesn't know how to do that? This person thought he had hit the mark and continued talking to himself. "I'm not saying anything. That girl was raised in the countryside. She definitely can't compare to you, Sarah, but you shouldn't be careless either. What if Uncle Smith feels guilty and gives her shares? Then you would be the one who loses out." I thought, what's wrong with the countryside? My adoptive parents have a villa in the countryside. Are you jealous? 3 generations back, who isn't from the countryside? Humph. But I still kept a standard smile on my face. Just as I was in a dilemma, a clear and cold female voice came from my side. "I didn't know that young Master William would be so interested in our family's affairs, even caring about whether my father would give my younger sister shares or not." "Yeah, that's my sister." That young Master William looked at me, then at Sarah, and was momentarily stunned. You, I rolled my eyes. "Identical twins, you haven't heard of that, sir. If your eyesight is bad, I suggest you get a pair of glasses, so you won't mistake people again. But I think it's not just your eyesight, your brain seems to be a bit slow too." "Oh well. As old people said hundreds of years ago, there's no medicine for a fool's brain." I grabbed Sarah's arm. "Dear, look, he's bullying me. Don't mess with my sister's kid." "Heh." Sarah's gaze at young Master William was scrutinizing. "If you don't want to be kicked out right now, shut your mouth." This bold statement was nothing like the gentle and weak Sarah I usually saw. But I like it. It feels good to have my sister backing me up. This matter didn't cause much commotion. Young Master William left my sight in a huff. Sarah wanted to introduce me to her friends, but I made an excuse to slip away. This kind of thing is better left for later. I was drinking juice in the corner when I noticed someone at the next table. I didn't pay much attention at first, but there was no way around it. This person was too eye-catching. We were never meant to meet, all because of my looks obsession. I approached with a drink in hand. And this person was actually looking at a stock chart. No wonder he was invited by the domineering CEO. He was really dedicated and responsible. I picked up my juice and sat down. "Hi." He glanced at me and said, "Young Miss Smith." I was taken aback. He actually told me and Sarah apart. What if I'm my sister? He smiled and put his phone away. "First Miss Smith, young Miss Smith. There's a different style." I corrected him. "Although you got it right." "I want to correct you. I still have the Lincoln surname, Lily Lincoln." He readily accepted. "Lily Miss. It's a pleasure, Lucas." I found myself becoming increasingly interested in him. "Nice to meet you. I feel we have a good connection." I'm even impressed with myself, meeting a good-looking guy. And even my social anxiety turns into social confidence. "Lily Miss, does everyone have such a good connection with you?" He looked at me. And I realized that people who are good-looking also have such beautiful eyes. "No, I only want to have a connection with you right now. Lily Miss, what do you like about me?" "You're good-looking." Maybe my answer was too simple. He was stunned for a second. "Lily Miss will meet other more handsome people in the future." I shook my head. It's hard to find someone good-looking and to my taste. I was about to say something else, when my phone buzzed. It was Mr. Smith looking for me everywhere, wanting to publicly announce my identity. I looked at Lucas, then it settled. "Since you're also single, I've decided to pursue you." After saying that, I went to find Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith was on the podium, giving a speech, then thanking the guests for coming. When I was already daydreaming, it finally came to the main point. "I am sure you've heard, my long-lost daughter has just been found. Today, I'd like to introduce my daughter to everyone, Lily Lincoln." I stepped forward and took the microphone from Mr. Smith. "Lily Lincoln, nice to meet you." I paused for a moment, then decided to explain to this group of apparently proper but very curious people. "I take my foster mother's surname, and I don't plan to change it for now. It's just too troublesome to go through the procedures. It has nothing to do with Mr. Smith, with my father." Finally, I want to say that I really like my father, my brother, and my sister. That's it. Thank you. After saying that, I returned the microphone to Mr. Smith. When I turned my head, I saw Lucas, and then, I gave him a wink. He didn't react at all. He seems like a cold person. I wonder how hard my pursuit will be. After that, Mr. Smith and Mandy Sarah introduced people to me. Actually, about half of the people in this ballroom I know, like this Uncle Duncan here. Mr. Smith greeted Uncle Duncan. Uncle Duncan, this is my little daughter. You should know her. I won't introduce her anymore. Uncle Duncan looked at me. Lily, it's been a long time. The last time I saw you, you were Wilson's daughter. I guess Wilson is crying now. Wilson is my adoptive father, and Uncle Duncan is his friend. I've met him a few times at the party before, and like Wilson, he's a kind old man. Mr. Smith quickly denied. I didn't steal Wilson's daughter. Besides, he's probably on a vacation with Ms. Kathy now. Don't put the hat on me. I held back my laughter. Exactly, without my disturbance. He and Mom are probably enjoying their honeymoon. I call Mr. Smith, Dad, and my adoptive parents, Mom and Dad. Uncle Duncan waved his hand. I won't take up your time. I guess many people are curious about Lily. Go ahead. After the round, almost everyone knew that even though I didn't return to the Smith family, I was the daughter of the Yu family from the neighboring city for the past 20 years. And soon whispers started to spread. Sarah was afraid I would be upset. So she squeezed my hand tightly. I held hers back and whispered in her ear, "They are jealous of me. Don't worry. I don't mind at all." When it was time to leave, William's face was full of expressions, and he almost ran away. I didn't see Lucas. I hope he wasn't scared off by me. The next morning at the breakfast table, Mandy dropped a bombshell out of the blue. "I heard you said you wanted to chase Lucas." Upon hearing this, Mr. Smith and Sarah both put down their chopsticks. I remained unfazed. "Yes, you have such good information." Mandy hesitated for a moment. "Lucas called me last night." Mr. Smith peeled an egg for Sarah and then another one for me. "Daughter, what did you like about him?" I grabbed the egg and put it in my mouth, mumbling, "He's good looking." "Mandy, being good looking can't feed you." But it's pleasing to the eye. Besides, I can earn money to support the family, and he can just be good looking." Sarah hesitated, but couldn't hold back. "Dear, maybe you should like someone else." Although, I had to respect the beauty, so I asked, "Why? It seems like all of you don't like him." Mr. Smith rubbed his temples, saying, "It's not that." I tilted my head and looked at Mr. Smith, saying, "Dad, if you don't give me a reason today, I'll go find him tomorrow." Mr. Smith was still hesitating, and Mandy gave me the answer. "Dad thinks Lucas is too excellent, and he's afraid you'll be bullied." I paused, saying, "You should know that I used to be a medical student, right? Later I switched to biology." They were surprised, and I continued, "As a medical student, we had a course called anatomy." Mr. Smith put down his chopsticks, and Mandy and Sarah looked thoughtful. Finally, Mr. Smith spoke earnestly to me. I suddenly started worrying about the child's physical and mental health. I comforted him, "Don't worry. I just want to be a lazy fish that doesn't have to work and has enough to eat. I don't want to step on a sewing machine or make a parachute for heaven." After dinner, Mandy was about to go to work, and I stopped him. Dealing with smart people is always easier. He immediately understood my intention. "My dear sister, he is my friend. I can't risk giving you his contact information. My dear brother, you just let me suffer from unrequited love. I will close my eyes." So I pulled out my secret weapon. I took an onion and pressed it against my eyes. "Later, I will go find Mr. Smith and your sister, and tell them you're bullying me." In the end, I still got the contact information. Today's experiment ended early, and on the way past the flower shop, I spent a fortune on a bouquet of roses and took a taxi to the building of Lucas's company. As expected, the receptionist at the company stopped me, saying sweetly, "Miss, I'm sorry, but do you have an appointment?" I suddenly remembered about the appointment, so I took out my phone and called the number I had been given. The other side answered quickly, "Hello, dear Mr. Lucas. Hello, your future girlfriend is currently at your company's building." The other side was clearly stunned, and after a while, he said, "I'll let the receptionist know. Please come up." So I took the exclusive elevator under the surprised gaze of the receptionist. When I saw him, I handed him the roses. "Here, for you, don't worry about it." Lucas eventually took the roses. "Thank you." He put the roses on his desk and turned to ask me, "Would you like something to drink?" I thought for a moment. Just water, thank you." The assistant quickly poured me some water and then left after closing the door. Lucas was dealing with something at the computer, and I randomly took a copy of 100 Years of Solitude from the office shelf to read. I chatted with him intermittently. When are you going to finish work? I need to book a place to eat, soon. Then, I started to feel drowsy. It's not my fault. I just couldn't bear the mental torture of the repeated names in this book. When Lucas called me, my head was already nodding slightly. He took the book from my hand. I'll try to find something else next time. What types of books do you like? Literature, medicine, and biology are all fine. Then I seemed to realize something. Mr. Lien, have you already prepared for me to often appear in your office? He didn't respond directly, and he took me out of the office. Before leaving, he glanced at the rose on the desk. Do you like it? I'll send you another bouquet next month. He looked a bit strange. Next month? I nodded, pressing the elevator button as I said, my lab allowance for this month is already used up, so I guess you'll have to be a bit patient. Exiting the elevator, he led me to the parking lot. You also run out of money. It's just chasing a boyfriend. Using family money isn't anything. I thought for a moment, deciding to comfort him. Don't worry, although our lab allowance isn't high, I have a horizontal project about to finish. I'll buy you flowers every day after that. That's really impressive. He sincerely congratulated. I felt quite happy when I heard that. When the car stopped at a regular home-style restaurant, I was quite surprised, from my years of reading novels. I thought that the tyrannical bosses would either go to high-end restaurants or high-end restaurants. How come this one is so down-to-earth? Oh, Mr. Smith and my dad aren't real bosses. If you don't go home for dinner, you'll be harshly disciplined by Master Mandy and Miss Sarah. The other will be punished by my mom, Ms. Kathy, to sleep in the guest room. Your brother said you like ribs. This restaurant has really good ribs. Lucas helped me pull out the chair. As soon as I heard that, I knew something was up. Indeed, men who are good-looking and successful have at least 800 tricks in their hearts. I thought my first date was quite successful. I leaned my chin on my hand, checked all the rib dishes on the menu, and as I checked them off, I asked, so are you preparing to use your negotiation skills to help your friend with some questions today? He took the menu I ordered, made a few more notes, and then said, not exactly. But Mandy said that although you have returned to the Smith family, there is still a distance between you and truly accepting all of us. I looked straight into his eyes, waiting for his next words. Mandy said that your past 2 decades of a comfortable life cannot offset their consistent absence in your growth. Therefore, he can understand your discomfort and resentment. The food arrived quickly. I glanced at the few extra dishes that weren't ribs. Obviously, Lucas prefers light meals. The Smith family are all smart people, and they naturally sense my discomfort. Even though I hadn't intended to hide it, I took a bite of the ribs. You're right, I really can't fully accept this reality in a short time, but that doesn't mean I don't value them. On the contrary, I cherish this family relationship, so I will take time to seriously think about how to accept all of you. If my actions have caused them anxiety or discomfort, I will deal with it seriously. I know what you're going to say. You might think that Wilson and Miss Kathy's favoritism toward me might prevent me from fully accepting the Smith family, but what I want to say is, returning to the Smith family was a decision we discussed together, and finally made by myself, so there's no situation where I would compare them. Lucas suddenly laughed. May I ask, a question out of topic? Why did you immediately think I was single when we first met? About why I was sure Lucas was single, it was actually easy to guess. At a banquet, if someone had a girlfriend, they would most likely bring a female companion. Even if they couldn't attend due to some reason, there would be some subtle clues. Moreover, when I said I wanted to pursue someone, anyone with a bit of common sense and conscience would clearly tell the other person they were not single. Finally, that was when I overheard some gossip while choosing juice. Mr. Lucas from MC Technology has been single so far. Of course, these are definitely not my answers. In fact, I just replied with 2 words, guess yourself. I think I really need to adjust the way I interact with the Smith family. Fortunately, the subsidy from my lab came in, so I bought Sarah a bracelet. I once glanced at her shopping cart and was surprised that a noble lady also uses online shopping platform. For Mandy, it was a tie clip. Mr. Smith was the easiest to please. A scarf I knitted with my scarf-making machine. It was pretty ugly. Finally, I bought a bouquet of flowers with the little money I had left and had it delivered to Lucas's company. Oh right, I used COD. Why did I do that? Of course, the lab subsidy was not that much. I had to save money. Although Wilson and Mr. Smith gave me cards with several zeros, I haven't counted them yet. In order to get out of this situation where even a penny could be a problem, I almost lived in the lab. Every time I left the lab, it was usually after 10 p.m., but even if I came out late, Mandy would still drive to pick me up. You have to work during the day. From now on I'll take a taxi myself. You're right, if I work overtime, I might not have time to pick you up. Then, why do I rarely see you work overtime, brother? Oh, I'm different from your boyfriend who hasn't been caught yet. I don't like working overtime. The implication is that Lucas loves working overtime. However, Sarah is currently learning to drive. As soon as I heard that, I had a bold guess. Sure enough, Mandy never fails to drop a bomb. Sarah is going to drive to pick you up after she finishes her driving lessons. Okay, I've decided to finish this cross project soon. And try not to let this happen again. It's said that the Smith family has two killing weapons. One is me cooking, and the other is Sarah driving. Before, when the aunt wasn't around, I was also staying in the lab until the early hours, so I woke up late, was starving, and went into the kitchen. The result was that the Smith family renovated the whole kitchen, and put up a sign on the kitchen door that said, "Kitchen area. Lily is not allowed to enter," and Sarah drove, according to Mr. Smith's confession after getting drunk once. Sarah, the daughter of Smith, started learning to drive from university, continued until she finished her doctorate, and now has her own clothing brand. She finally succeeded in driving the driving school out of business. In order not to see Sarah driving again, I spent more time in the lab. That day, I left at 2 a.m. Before that, I specifically called Mr. Smith and Mandy, ordering them not to come pick me up. So I was satisfied that I didn't see the familiar license plate at the entrance, but I saw another car that I wasn't familiar with, but I'm certain I've seen before. The window rolled down, and I saw Lucas's face, which was qualified to be an academic lover. If he used this face to ask me whether my thesis needed a second author, I would most likely be blinded by his beauty and give up my first authorship. Beauty deceives, as the ancients said. They did not deceive us. I told your brother today that I would come to pick you up. I obediently got into the car. Mr. Lucas, why did you have time to pick me up today? You're not supposed to be extremely busy. I just finished work, and I came by on my way. Hey, I just say hey. He's really the guy who can make the industry big and strong, working late into the night and then, on the way, driving 20 kilometers to pick me up. Who gave me the courage to say, he takes care of being good looking. I take care of earning money to support the family. Maybe I was just daydreaming. During the time we were waiting at the red light, Lucas asked me, "What are you thinking about?" I was thinking about you taking care of being good looking. I take care of earning money to support. Oh no. I just said what I was thinking. It's definitely the result of overtime work. I could feel Lucas trying hard to suppress his smile. Miss Lily, I think, I haven't agreed to be your boyfriend yet. Since the red light still had 20 seconds, I finally made up my mind, bit my lip, stomped my foot, and lifted the heavy chin of Lucas. Beauty, you'll be mine eventually. Then I quickly sat back in the passenger seat and solemnly told him, the green light is on. Although I looked very calm, I think my ears were definitely red and visible. When I arrived at the Smith family villa, I opened the door and got out, preparing to say a formal thank you, when Lucas also got out. I had confusion on my face. Are you not going to work tomorrow? I've been thinking all the way, since I'm eventually yours, then, I think, it's not a problem to do it earlier. Miss Lily, would you like me to be your boyfriend? At that moment, I felt that overtime wasn't that big of a deal, such a good thing, you wouldn't find it even with a lantern, so I heard myself say, it's my honor. The next day, I solemnly announced at the dinner table that I had a boyfriend, my father, alas. It's a pity, my dad, what a pity, Lucas was such a good kid. How come this jade cabbage was taken? Dad, I think I'm probably not your biological child. The test might have been wrong. Maybe we can do it again some other day. Oh, I was wrong. Lucas being my daughter's boyfriend is his good fortune. Then Mr. Smith changed his tone and pointed the gun at Mandy, who was eating. Older brother, you're almost 30. Your sister is already dating. And you're still a single guy in the frog field. Don't you have anything to say? Mandy quickly put down her chopsticks and ran off with her bag. I suddenly remembered I have an urgent document at the company. I have to go. You all enjoy your meal. Mr. Smith looked at my sister, Sarah. I suddenly remembered I have some work to do in my studio. I'll go too, sister. Enjoy your meal. I always feel out of place because I'm not passionate enough about work. On Monday in the lab, it's always busy. When I went to the corridor to get some water in the afternoon, I heard a commotion in the adjacent meeting room, and many people were gathered at the door whispering. I went to the next lab and asked what was going on. It's Jenny's family who came over. The younger female student's face was full of anger. The Jenny senior I know is a top figure in this lab. Her research is very excellent, and the lab often jokingly calls me and her Cold Spring Harbor seed candidates. Which of course has some exaggeration, but it also shows her strength. Although we are technically competitors, I have met her a few times in private, and Jenny is a hardworking and excellent person. Jenny's family is already patriarchal. She paid for her own PhD tuition by working several part-time jobs. She has finally reached this point, but now her family came again, insisting she drop out and get married. The reason being that her brother couldn't afford the dowry and wanted to sell his sister off. Upon hearing this, my fists had already started to harden. The shouting from inside the reception room became more and more offensive. I heard Jenny's advisor trying to persuade them, but was drowned out by a middle-aged man's voice. What's the use of a girl getting so much education? Besides, I heard there is radiation here. If something happens, how will she be able to have kids in the future? Now that there is still a dowry, she should go back and get married immediately. Then came a middle-aged woman's scolding voice. I went back to the lab, grabbed a reagent, and returned to the reception room, then kicked the door open. Jenny was being scolded by someone who looked like her mother, while the dean and her advisor were anxiously trying to intervene. I rushed forward and pulled Jenny behind me. Whatever it is, let's talk calmly. You're too noisy and disturbing my experiment. I looked and saw, wow, they came with the whole family. Even Jenny's younger brother, the so-called, the family's heir, was here. Who are you? Asked the middle-aged man, who looked like Jenny's father. I'm from the lab next to Jenny's. You're too noisy. Jenny's mother tried to rush toward me again, as if wanting to pull Jenny back. I pulled Jenny back with my right hand and held a reagent in front of them with my left. I advise you to think twice before moving. This reagent is worth $350,000. Any damage to it and I can send all of you to prison for several years. Sure enough, upon hearing $350,000, the whole family fell silent for a few seconds. They didn't come forward anymore. But Jenny's younger brother rolled his eyes and said, Sis, you said you had no money, but this thing is so expensive. Just take a little and sell it, right? Upon hearing that, the dean and Jenny's advisor were almost about to explode. I sneered. If she really took it, she would be the one in prison. Then you would have no chance of getting money for your wedding at all. Before they could say anything, I looked at the potted plant that had fallen over in the office and some other scattered items. Hey, Dean, isn't this potted plant a $500,000 Ravalfia that you bought at an auction? I looked at the dean and gave him a meaningful glance. The old man understood immediately. That's right, look at this. He then pretended to clutch his chest and fall down. The closest junior student rushed over to support him, and as he did, he anxiously shouted, Dean, what's wrong with you? You can't have a heart attack. Indeed, everyone in this building deserved an Oscar. I pointed again at Jenny's smashed thermos. Professor, is this the thermos that Senior Han gave you last time? It's said to be high-tech from abroad, and Senior Han spent 200,000 on it. Good. The old professor also made a look of a heart attack. The whole family quickly said, this has nothing to do with us. It's all this girl's fault. If she had just obeyed and gone back to marry someone, there wouldn't have been all these problems. I stopped them from speaking. This time, the damage to the lab exceeds $1 million. If Jenny has to pay for it, she would have to work for our lab for 10 years for free. If it's you who pay, then it's even better. Call the police and it can be resolved. I took out my phone, ready to make a call. The family disappeared quickly. The incident at the lab spread fast, and my sister became very interested in this girl who had gone through so much but was still strong and independent. She asked me to arrange a meeting with her sometime. We three sat in a quiet private room. Lily, thank you for last time. Jenny broke the silence again. You're welcome. My sister took a sip of coffee and asked Jenny, I heard Lily say that you have already received an offer from a famous university abroad. Yes, but why aren't you planning to go? Jenny looked down and didn't say anything. Can I ask a personal question? Jenny looked up at her. Your household registration, is it still at your family's place? Or, I moved it out when I was in college. My sister looked relieved. I heard Lily talk about you, and I really like your personality. You can go abroad, and I can sponsor you financially until you finish your studies abroad. Jenny looked up at me. My sister doesn't lack money, you don't need to be polite with her. Once you go abroad, far away from the emperor, that bunch of weird people won't bother you anymore. Jenny remained silent for a while, then looked up and said, Miss Smith, I'll write you an IOU. Okay. A month later, I saw Jenny's WeChat moments. Goal, Cold Spring Harbor. The picture was of the Fitzwilliam Museum. After that, I finally finished my project before my sister got her driver's license. Along with a large sum of money came a letter of offer from a foreign laboratory. I refused. In order to fulfill my previous promise, I sent him a bouquet of flowers every day to his company, and this time I didn't have to pay. That day, I had some free time and brought a big bouquet of roses into Lucas's office. This time, he didn't continue his work after I entered. I heard you turned down an invitation from a foreign lab. I paused while looking for a book on the shelf. You're so well informed. His expression was serious. Why didn't you go? I walked over and sat on my boyfriend's lap. My dear boyfriend, you must think that my love for you is so strong that I can't bear to leave you. So you refused, right? Lucas remained silent. I laughed, suddenly feeling my boyfriend was a bit cute. I cupped his face and gave him a kiss on the forehead. My dear boyfriend, you should believe that the probability of a Smith family member having a love-sick mind is extremely low. After all, Mr. Smith always reminded me to avoid being lovesick. Lucas, I like you, I really, really like you, but I won't stop my progress for anyone, not even if that person is my lover. I refused the invitation. Maybe there's some of that reason in it, but it's definitely not the only reason. I made this decision after careful consideration. I was waiting for him to get angry, because based on my years of reading novels, if a male lead hears that he isn't the top priority in the female lead's heart, he would usually get very angry, and sometimes even extremely so, but Lucas didn't seem angry. On the contrary, he seemed a bit happier than before. I'm glad you didn't become a burden to me. I'm also honored that you chose me as your boyfriend. I have established my own lab. I definitely won't have any money issues, Mr. Smith. My brother and sister, and Ms. Wilson from the cloud. Now I can really say I'm rich. I can even browse the Carl Zeiss website anytime. I refused Lucas's investment. I don't want other elements to interfere with our relationship. But it seems, my boyfriend got angry because I stopped him from giving me money. In the end, my boyfriend still placed 2 machines in my lab. The lab is running quickly, and I often exchange opinions with Jenny from abroad. Everything is developing in a good direction. The sky is very blue, and the clouds are very beautiful. My boyfriend came to pick me up again. Jenny's side story. I have always heard of Professor Q's students. Lily's name. She is in my department, and is like my junior. I have met her a few times. She is beautiful, academic excellence, excellent in experiments, and I heard she published in a top journal. Her family background is also good. She is excellent in every way, a person I can't match. But what's the point? Just focus on living my own life well. What she has, I can't envy, and what I have may not be worse either. One day, I went to the dean's office to get a signature and found her arguing with the dean. I was a bit shocked because she has always been seen as lively but not easily angry. What's wrong with Jenny? Her experiments are perfect. Her papers are sufficient. Why wasn't she invited to this academic forum? Well, the college has to consider various aspects. Spit it out. Who else was given the 2 spots besides me? It was given to Teacher Q's student. We are cultivating experimental personnel, research talents, not celebrities. Why do we need to be so skilled in socializing? Well, Jenny's English pronunciation isn't good. There are foreign guests at this forum, right? What's the matter with her? She only started learning ABC in junior high, and she did her best to stand in the same lab building as us. Are we going to deny her efforts? Besides, she did well in the CT6. Isn't it enough to understand English? Well, enough. I know you're the dean. Some things aren't up to you alone. This time, give her my spot. Then, what? Stop. I won't do something that harms myself and benefits others. My mom, Ms. Yun, is one of the organizers of this forum, and I can get the spot through back door. By the way, this can't let Jenny know. Later, during the forum, I actually had the spot. When I saw her at the meeting, I finally understood what my roommates meant by the shining person. Later, when my parents came to cause trouble, it was also her who helped me solve the problem. I met her sister, Miss Sarah. Miss Sarah looked very similar to her, but her temperament was quite different. She was like the moon and a small sun. Miss Sarah was that moon, gentle and warm. Miss Sarah gave me money for studying abroad. I wrote her a loan note and exchanged contact information. When Miss Sarah accepted the loan note, I felt relieved. Life abroad wasn't much different from back home. It was still dormitory, cafeteria, and lab. Going back and forth between the three, Sarah, Miss Lily, and I sometimes chat. Miss Sarah was worried that I wouldn't get used to eating outside of China, so she sent me chili sauce and some unique domestic snacks. I finally understood why so many people say chili sauce is delicious. I ate those snacks sparingly. Once, I was sent to another school for an exchange program, and I took a Air France flight. Air France lost my luggage, which had only a few remaining snacks. I hesitated for a long time on this foreign land, and finally mustered the courage to call Miss Sarah. Her studio was here to participate in a fashion exhibition. Miss Sarah arrived very quickly. She helped me get a new suitcase, took me to the destination school, and communicated a lot with the host teachers. Her pronunciation is very nice to listen to. After hearing that my suitcase had the snacks she sent, although she didn't say anything on the surface, not long after, I received many more domestic specialties. Sarah often comes here on business trips, and also invites me out to relax sometimes. She also teaches me how to pronounce foreign languages online. It's winter now, and there hasn't been much work in the lab these months. My mentor gave me a long vacation. I felt a bit lost. I know the new year is coming soon, but I don't have a home anymore. MS. Sarah called me and invited me to her house for the new year. I initially refused, but in the end, I was persuaded. When I entered MS. Sarah's house, I saw Lily. Sarah introduced me to her father, her brother, and Lily's boyfriend. One by one, everyone welcomed my arrival. In that moment, I felt like I had a home again. Lucas's side story. My friend's long-lost younger sister has found me. She said she wants to chase me. I know this is just infatuation, but I seem not to mind. I thought for a while, maybe I'm also tempted by the girl's beauty. I thought about the girl's sister's face, which looked similar to hers, and quietly dismissed that thought. She came to my company with flowers, and I seemed to like the red roses in her hands. I noticed she didn't seem to like the finance books on my bookshelf, and she even fell asleep reading 100 Years of Solitude. So I asked her what books she likes, and she said literature, medical science, and biology are all fine. The next day, I had my assistant buy some related books and put them on the bookshelf. I randomly picked up a book called Obstetrics and Gynecology, and from chapter 6 to 33, it scared me. I placed this book in the most prominent place on the shelf. She said that once the lab gives the allowance, she will send me flowers, so I have been counting the days waiting for her to get the allowance. I finally did get my flowers. Why is it cash on delivery? Has she run out of money already? Should I find a reason to give her some? I heard that doing research is very expensive, but I don't seem to have the right to give her money. I invited Mandy out and asked her, subtly and directly, whether she didn't like her new sister-in-law. Impossible. Don't defame someone's reputation without evidence. Then why does your sister need to save up for the flowers? Can't my sister be independent and strong? Besides, my sister bought gifts for everyone once the allowance came this month. If your money isn't enough, it can only prove that you aren't even in the top 3 in her heart. I was a bit angry and said, your sister and I will be on the same household registration. Mandy pouted and said, first, my sister might make you a son-in-law. Second, you aren't even her boyfriend yet. That was a knockout. I heard she's been busy doing experiments these days and leaves late. I told my friend Mandy and went to pick her up. In the car, she said that she is the one who supports the family financially, and I am the one who is good-looking. She also said that I will be hers eventually. I think it would be better if I became her boyfriend earlier. I successfully had a girlfriend. She always says my schedule is unhealthy. I know it myself, but I still do things my way. After all, there is a lot of work. Sometimes I wonder if she's only attracted to my face. What if I'm not as good-looking anymore? Would she look for other young guys? A beautiful woman is in her bones, not her skin, baby, trust me. Your bones are the most beautiful I've ever seen. She said that while pointing at the formalin in the book. I think her real meaning was, dear, if you don't take care of your life, I can only watch you through a glass bottle. So I changed my lifestyle schedule. Life is so beautiful. I want to keep it to spend many more years with her. My friends around me are very surprised that I could enter the health-conscious mode early, I said. My girlfriend is too perfect. I need to save enough time to be with her. She established her own laboratory. I have always known she was excellent, and I have always believed she would have her own achievements. I need to support her. Doing research is very expensive, right? I need to make a lot of money. Well, I kind of want to get married, but I think Smith uncle probably won't agree. A bit sad. After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.